Well, hello there, everyone. I'm James Jack. Welcome to Skills to Pay the Bills. I'm with Ernestine J. Wilson Real Estate. I'm a realtor, have been one for a long time. I've helped a lot of people to buy homes, sell homes, lease homes, whatever the case may be. And I've also gotten help from a lot of other people who have helped people buy homes also. And this is my guest who now is making a comeback, I should say. Miss Milan Griffin. It's always good to have you.
Thank you. Nice to have you as well. Nice to be here.
I tried to be formal, but you know how I am. You know what I mean?
That's definitely a pleasure.
Okay. Now, the last time we talked about the organization that you represent. So I want you to tell us more about the organization, sort of like give us a recap of the organization, that is a nonprofit. It's sanctioned by HUD, and how you and your mom and all of the people who are associated with you help people to get homes, very briefly.
Yes. Well, you said some major critical parts of it already. Home for USA, we are a HUD-approved nonprofit housing counseling organization, and we are actually an intermediary. So we work with first-time home buyers, and we walk them step-by-step through the home buying process, help them to secure closing, and we stay with them for about 2 years after they buy. And then we also work with homeowners that are having mortgage difficulty, and we help them to access the mortgage option that would help them to prevent foreclosure. As a HUD intermediary, we are the parent organization over about 68 or so affiliate organizations nationwide, and these affiliate organizations are also housing counseling organizations, and we provide them with the training and some funding that they need to really succeed in their respective areas. Okay,
now HUD approved, that's important. Is that basically sort of like the good housekeeping seal of approval on the types of organizations that you represent and that you're the umbrella of?
Exactly. That's actually exactly what it is. So, there are a lot of housing counseling organizations out here. There are a lot of, but you want to make sure that if you're dealing with a housing counseling organization, a nonprofit, housing counseling organization, that they are HUD approved. As you said, that's kind of that good housekeeping seal. It is a stamp to say that the organization, beyond everything else, has a regulatory agency over them to check to make sure that the organization is doing things the right way and that they are serving their clients correctly, ethically, and we kind of have a big brother over us, if you will, to make sure that everything is in line. So it's really a great thing for consumers to look for as they interact with housing counseling organizations.
Right. So many times you hear people say, well, I gave these people $5,000 and they were going to help me with, help me in terms of not getting, my house, not losing my house to foreclosure, or they're going to help me to get into a home, and then they find out later on that nobody's home.
Exactly, exactly. So when you're dealing with when you have a for-profit company that may promise to cleanse and repair your credit and everything, many times they don't have anybody over them to affirm or assert whether or not they are doing what they said they're going to do. So you can easily be putting your money into a pit that has no return. And that's the same thing with a housing counseling organization that's not HUD approved. So, HUD has an Office of Housing Counseling now, and essentially, again, they're the regulatory agency that really monitors the work of the HUD approved housing counseling agencies and networks under their umbrella. So it's really, it's a great safety measure for consumers.
Well, Andrea, excuse me.
You went straight for the middle name. You just said, forget the Milan. I like that. You kind of giving me some, other credentials here, in the community.
You pointed it out the last time. I said, okay, take the trap.
I have not heard someone say my middle name in many, many moons. So I appreciate it. Hey, let's go with Andrea.
Well, I've trapped a few mice in my day. I just pull that spring back and put that little cheese or that peanut butter on there and sit back and wait,
You're full of surprises. You are. That's why I love being here with you. I do.
Okay, well, it comes as no surprise that this time you did not come with a laundry list of acronyms about, all the processes and things like that. What was the one we spelled out before?
I think it was support or coach, one of the two.
Coach, that's the one. Okay, so we don't have to do that.
Yeah.
If they want to see it again, all they have to do is just go to a YouTube link and they'll see, or they'll probably see it on this cable channel repeating again, and then they'll see this one, which is sort of more of a personal approach to how you give people a roadmap to buying a home or getting things done before they talk to a realtor.
Right, exactly. So, you know, one thing that we've noticed at Home for USA, and this is one of the reasons why we were built, so often the traditional realm of thought for home buyers is, you know, I wake up one day, I'm tired of renting, the kids are upstairs from me are like acting crazy, and my landlord, he is trying to evict everybody if they do one thing wrong, kind of thing. So folks wake up and they get tired of renting. They decide to buy a home for a multitude of reasons. And then the traditional frame of thought is for them to pick up a phone and call a realtor, or to pick up a phone and go straight to whatever lending operation and get the process started from there. So what Home for USA is on a mission to do at this point is to really revamp and recreate, if you will, that mindset. So home buyers are more inclined to call a HUD-approved housing counseling organization such as Home for USA to help to guide them through the journey. Home ownership is the largest investment that most people will make in their lifetime. You know, we're talking about $200,000, $300,000, $400,000, if not up. And so it is wise that home buyers team with a nonprofit HUD-approved organization, so that HUD-approved housing counseling organization, so that they can get the guidance that they need in order to be well directed through the process. And you know, it's also important to know that these organizations, these nonprofit organizations, are not working against the realtor, they're not working against the lender, but they are working on behalf and for the home buyer. And so, you know, making sure that they team with an agency that is going to pull all entities together, the realtor, the lender, walking them through the process, providing the necessary classes that they need in order to understand what they're doing. Many organizations such as Home for USA provides also one-on-one counseling that can really help them not only to achieve mortgage approval, but also to get from mortgage approval to closing, so that they're not getting a bad deal, so that they're getting their questions answered, and that so they're truly home free.
Well, after that, tune in next week. I think we can wrap this one up. You have said it all. Okay, I know that's not more. That may be more than a mouthful, I should say, but it's really not the whole story. So let's just walk them through the process again. You know, husband and wife, brother and sister, mother and daughter, family members, or you alone wake up one morning, you say, I want to buy a house. So you see all these advertisements on television, or you know, you're watching, you're looking at something on the web, Zillow or one of the others, and you see this house and you say, oh boy, you know. And of course, linked to that is the realtor's name, the real estate person or professional's name. And so you call them or you link to them through email. And what you're saying is that's not necessarily the best route to take. Did I say route or route? I'm from Memphis, Tennessee, and we say route.
It's okay. It's just like you say, the way you say advertisement is so nice and distinguished, but I forgot the way. It'll come back to me.
Oh, okay.
Advertisement.
I'm sure you will
That's that
remind.
nice, distinguished flair coming out, but go ahead.
Well, that's because I'm an intellectual.
You are.
You know, and I've outsmarted myself many times. But one thing I have learned in the business of real estate is that you don't know it all. There's always someone else who knows what is best for you, and it's not there to take advantage of you. Now, there are some scavengers out there, but for the most part, real estate professionals really want to help you because that's how they get paid.
Exactly.
And now, since we've gone through this last debacle, there are more safeguards for the consumer, the home buyer, than there were before. And people are even saying today, well, I didn't know we had to do this, and I didn't know we had to do that. Well, guess what? Your contract is going to be over 60 pages. And it's going to pass through the hands of more than 50, 60 people. So there is some kind of safe checking and you know, cross-checking and things like that. So let's go back to the process itself. I wake up, I get this feeling that I should have a home in 60 days. Am I realistic?
It really, honestly, is totally dependent on your situation, your credit score, your debt load, just so many different things. And no matter what your credit score is, sometimes we deal with people, they have 775 credit score, $35,000 in the bank, and all these great things. And then we deal with some other folks and they have a 500 credit score, little bit of money saved, larger debt load. But at the end of the day, when we decide to buy a house, we do, again, have to come to the realization that it is a huge investment, one, and there are resources out here to make sure to really protect the consumer's interests. And I like what you said, because it's less about the fact that realtors or loan officers are out here to just take people's money, and, it's not even about that as much as it is. When you are a home buyer, you have a lot of different questions because you're about to interface with a process that is this big and the average person only knows this much about it, And so what the housing counseling organization is designed to do is to really work and inform the consumer so the consumer can lift some of the weight off of, let's say, the realtor. So the realtor's job is to really work alongside the home buyer to help them to find the home, to help them to find the right home that fits their needs. A realtor doesn't necessarily want to be bombarded with 1,001 questions about the home buying process, nor should the home buyer trust that the realtor or the loan officer that they are working with is as informed as they think they may be. It's almost like if I was to go and take my car to a mechanic, and the car, and then my mechanic, and he could have the best intentions in mind. Or she, exactly, could have the best intentions in mind. But if the mechanic says to me, Ms. Griffin, I heard this rattling under your engine, and you need a new transmission. If I don't know anything about cars, the first thing I'm going to think is, she's right, I need a new transmission. Let me go ahead and give her all these many thousands of dollars. But at the end of the day, if I have someone that's working along my side, I can, better decide whether or not that is the right remedy. I can then I can have a better understanding of what I know to be right or to be wrong, and I can have a better measurement so that I can approach the deal, save money, save time, and really be informed in my transaction.
So in other words, you take them back to school.
Exactly.
And you put them on track for a degree.
Exactly.
And then once they walk down the aisle and they get their sheepskin at settlement, then they come back to you and they thank you.
Exactly.
We're going to come back to you in just a moment, but right now we're going to take a break. And when we come back, we're going to talk about that process. I'm James Jack. This is Skills to Pay the Bills. Ernestine J. Wilson, Real Estate, at your best. Thank you.
We need your feedback. If you enjoyed this show or any of our programming on Channel 10, Channel 30, Channel 36, or Channel 37, please let us know. Leave a quick comment on our viewer comment line. Share your thoughts.
Welcome back to Skills to Pay the Bills, the Ernestine J. Wilson Real Estate edition. I'm James Jack, and with me, my guest, Miss Milan Griffin. She's old hat now. She has earned her stripes, and she's come back to talk more about her HUD-approved organization, Home Free USA, that helps home buyers to stay on the right path toward home ownership. And before the break, we sort of wrapped it up in a nutshell by saying you take them back to school. You start them off with remedial classes if necessary, in the skills and the knowledge of buying a home, and also credit counseling or whatever their situation might be. Point I want to bring up. Most of the people, no, I'm not going to say most, a good deal of the people that I've dealt with over the years, even though they trust me, and that's important, and they know that this is something that, it's a big decision.
Right.
And they feel that, with what I've done in the past, that should be a pretty good prerequisite for helping them. But invariably, they'll turn to their friends, and their friends will say, well, you can do this, and you can do this, and you can do this.
Heard it all before.
Yes, and then that's how they wind up about halfway through the process saying, well, they didn't tell me about,
Exactly.
my situation. So in turn, what you're saying is start with you and then join hands with me after they've gotten a little bit of knowledge before they get to that graduation process, and then in the meantime, when they start with you, what are you going to do? What's day one of class?
Well, let me just tweak that a little bit. So some people, and it really just depends on where they are in the process. Some people come to a HUD-approved agency like Home Free USA, and they start with us, then they get with the realtor and the lender and so on and so forth. Other people come and they're working with everybody interconnectedly.
At the same time.
At the same time. And so, but one thing that's really important for the home buyer to know is that they definitely want an entity that's not only looking out for their best interest, but also, as we've said many times over, informing them as to what to do and how to do it. Because you definitely know, there's so many things that come up in this process, and you don't, what you said is exactly correct. So many times I speak to people, they're like, oh, well, my baby cousin, they were a realtor, back when I was 10, and they told me this, and they can help me with this. But quite frankly, you want to make sure you have somebody on your side that can really help you to demystify those gray areas, and that really can help you to do everything from helping you become credit ready to helping you to negotiate the terms of your deal, to helping you to negotiate any fees and look over your statements, your HUD-1, and make sure you're not being overcharged anything, and just to do all those kind of nuts and bolts based things so that you are not, your backup is not up against the wall, or you're not stressed out or frustrated as things arise through the process.
So how much is it going to cost them when they walk through the doors of Home Free?
So for Home Free, for example, our membership fee is...
Not dollars wise, but
okay, that's what I was like. This is really good
you don't have to
commercially.
say,
Okay, go ahead.
No, but what I'm saying, what is it going to cost them? There's going to be a small fee, and then, or are they going to have to go back and get a loan to get your services to work for them?
Well, all of the HUD-approved nonprofits work differently. So with our organization, for example, what we do is we provide counseling and classes, one-on-one counseling and classes. So you have that group education piece, but then you have that one-on-one piece. Through the one-on-one piece, depending on your, your profile and everything, what you can afford.
It's like legal aid, huh?
Almost, yeah.
Yeah, you put on your tattered jeans. And,
exactly.
You go without a haircut or a hairdo for about 3 months, and then when you walk in there, you say, well, DWI.
Exactly.
But they know.
Exactly.
They know.
So what we try to do is we're kind of like the nucleus. So we work with our home buyers, help them become really lender ready, not just mortgage ready, lender ready. And then we expose them. We have about 7 lending partners. And so we expose them to 3 of the 7. We provide them with 3 of the 7 mortgage options so they can get the best deal. And then from there, we'll explain to them and really break down in plain, very plain language, the terms and conditions of the different loans. They have the opportunity to choose which loan they want, or we can we can suggest and kind of walk them through the best option. Also, even with realtors, we have a lot of preferred realtors, preferred lending partners.
Let me see. Am I one of your?
That's it. Like, we gotta talk offline. Exactly, gotta talk offline.
I am now.
So with folks like you, for example, trustworthy guy, good guy, nice guy, but really knows the business and knows how to really treat and work with their clients, their home buyers. So we would also work kind of again as a nucleus, and we would refer our home buyers to a guy like you if and they have the option to choose whoever they want. Some people don't need the suggestion, other people do. But that's just kind of how we would work.
Well, since we're on the same page, I'm sure that you will agree with me that when I tell people there is no free lunch, there's there is no reason for you to believe that you can walk into an office and cry poverty, and in the back of your mind you're going to walk out with a $300,000 home.
Exactly.
3 or 4 months from now. No, there are going to be deep searches. There are going to be questions asked. There's going to be a reevaluation period in terms of, do you really know what you really want in terms of a home? Or if you lost a home, is it really time now for you to get back into the game? Or should you go through a process of a deep cleansing so that the next time you know better about saving and putting aside and taking care of the home and things like that? So again, I want to reiterate, buying a home is not a free ride.
Right.
And people say, I heard someone the other day say, well, there's no closing costs. There are closing costs.
Exactly.
Well, they put them at the end of the loan.
That's one of those baby cousins.
Yes.
You know, my baby cousin told me there's no closing costs.
No closing costs. Well, what do you know about a HUD 1? How do you know how to read the sheet? You're sitting there at settlement. You've got 500 pages to sign, and you think you're going to read all of them at one time? No. But if you have a better idea of what's in front of you, then you don't have to look behind and see where you made mistakes later on.
And you know, that is exactly right. Because what happened with the mortgage industry is that so many people, you know, around 2008 really on through the present, so many people have experienced or have been close to experience foreclosure. And so what has happened with the mortgage industry is that they have gone to the extreme. See, before, folks could walk in many, many years ago and say, you know, I make $200,000 a year. I'm a trustworthy guy. I pay everybody back. You know, here, let whatever. These kind of stated things, and loans were just really given to so many people. And now it's the complete opposite. Now, the mortgage industry has said, look, we are fact-checking everything about you.
And that's because of state and federal laws.
Exactly.
Because now they are under the microscope, too.
So everybody has tightened up. And so that's another reason why it's so essential on the part of the people like the realtors and the loan officers and the home buyers. It's so essential that the home buyers are prepared before and as they go through the process, because so many people are getting denied now. You know, you have so many people that are going and they think they got everything under control. They're calling the realtor, having the realtor waste a whole bunch of time and gas, you know, taking them out, doing all these various things. They get a ratified contract, go to the lending shop, and many people are being denied. I know that folks, even to a point where people were getting threatened that we work with were being denied for overdraft fees being shown up on their bank statement.
Right.
So that's another reason why working with those HUD-approved nonprofits is really important, to make sure that you are lender ready and you're not jumping the gun and going here when you are only really ready and prepared to go here.
So this is day one. How long am I going to have to go to these classes? How long, you know, why can't I just, in a week's time, or, you know, in an 8-hour course, why can't I just be prepared with a certificate? How long is it going to take me, the average person, to get from point A to point B, and then I'm ready to go out with a realtor to look at houses?
That's a great question, and honestly, it's different for everybody. It's really different for everybody. We have some people where our program has no deadline or guideline in terms of time. So it's some people, they come in and they're in and out in terms of just the classes in a week and a half. Other people, it takes them longer. But so it's not the classes, because our classes, we have classes maybe on average once to 2 times a week. So it's not really about the classes, because you could do the classes at your own pace. You can do them as seldomly or as frequently as you want to. What we found to be that takes the longest amount of time are 2 things. Number one, if you need to get one of those critical financial elements in line, such as your savings, increase your savings, decreasing debt, or improving that credit score. Those 3 things, depending on your discipline, your commitment, and the income that you have to apply to those areas, or the level of discipline you have to stop spending in one area so you can save or pay down debt in another. That is one area that is going to take a timely fashion, depending on, again, how disciplined you are and how deep your situation is.
Sure.
The second thing that probably takes the longest time, and these both are really outside of the parameters specifically of Home Free, is the time that it takes you to actually find the house that you want. So I know for me, it took me like 2 years to buy my house. But it took me that long because I was very tunnel vision on what I wanted, to the point of being kind of unrealistic, to be quite frank. Other people, it takes them a much shorter amount of time. So those are really the 2 things that I think take the longest time. So Home Free's process is really personalized to you.
I like that word, personalized, because all too often we want to get into the fast checkout line, you know, or we want to get into the self-checkout line and get it done very quickly.
And this is definitely not the time to do that.
No.
What I stress to home buyers all the time is that what you do during the 12 months, 6 months, couple week time frame that it takes you to go to closing, to, you know, go from start A to Z, the amount of time that it takes you to get to that place, and what you do during this process, during the home buying process, completely dictates how the life of your homeownership experience is. So for many homeowners, unfortunately, they were in a position where they got it quick, they got it easy, and they got it with a lot of with no requirements really.
Right.
And so they got into that home. It was too much for them. People can blame who they want. Folks may blame the homeowner, the lender, but at the end of the day, a lot of people are losing their homes,
right,
or have lost their homes. And so it's not about that quick, fast, and easy as much as it is the knowledgeable, informed, prepared, mistake-free process so you can get to the right place.
On a final note, and I'll make this comment and I'll have you to agree or second it. If you lost your home and you feel that you have no recourse, actually you do. Mm-hmm. You may not be able to buy a home in the next 2 or 3 months, but if you're on the right path, those issues that you thought were going to keep you from owning a home again aren't necessarily there. Mm-hmm. And if they are there, they can be somehow or another corrected. I want to thank you, Andrea. Miss Griffin.
I like that. I like
Andrea.
that.
And as always, you're welcome. Yes, you're always welcome to come back. I'm James Jack, and this is Skills to Pay the Bills. I'm with Ernestine J. Wilson Real Estate, and we love real estate. We love people. You should love people too, because that's the path to loving yourself. Have a good one.